Hi, it's Michael Caputo for Still Standing. Thanks a lot for watching the video. I hope you're checking out my podcast at stillstandingpodcast.com. It's also on radio.com. I'm real happy that we've been accepted on radio.com. We're also on iTunes, Stitcher, the usual suspects. I do about 40 minutes on audio and a podcast each week. We'll try to do a weekly video. Sometimes I don't. Last week I didn't. I was traveling in Florida, so I didn't have an opportunity to actually do one right. I tried to, wasn't high enough quality. Didn't want to give you just crap on my channel here. I got a lot of people who were, saying some nice things about the quality of the recordings, trying to keep the quality up. But also, this week was a pretty big week, and I thought, it's a good week to do a video. One of the most important things that has happened since the filing of the Mueller report 2 weeks ago happened just the other day when Attorney General William Barr was asked in a congressional hearing on camera in public if he thought there was spying on the Trump campaign, and he said he did think so. I thought that was a really big deal. It's a huge deal. I've been, obviously, it's my opinion that we were spied on. I was spied on. I had an FBI informant come and offer me dirt on Hillary Clinton. I covered that in this week's podcast. Guy's name was Henry Greenberg, actually a fake name that he gave me. I think there's a lot more spies coming at the campaign, and I think Attorney General Barr is going to get a look at this. I hope he takes a close look at it. I don't, frankly, have much confidence in the Inspector General at the Department of Justice. I know he's been looking at some of this stuff, and Attorney General Barr has been saying that he's looking forward to getting results out of Inspector General Horowitz. I frankly don't have much confidence in him. I know he's a decent man, and I know he's a pretty honest guy, but I've tried to get in touch with him and talk to him about the FBI informant that came to me and other people that were trying, actually making some suspicious contact. My attorney reached out to the Inspector General twice. We never heard back. We reached out to Huber, the U.S. Attorney out in Salt Lake, never heard back. I don't think the Department of Justice up until now has been serious about looking into these issues, the spying on the Republican candidate for President of the United States. That's the biggest scandal in modern American history. I don't think the Department of Justice, until A.G. Barr, has really taken it seriously at all. Horowitz, Huber, I don't think there's going to be much there. I think the Attorney General has to start probably from scratch. But one thing that I think is important for everyone to know, this report will probably be out before I do another video, the Mueller report. It was filed with the Attorney General on Saturday, I guess Friday the 22nd. On the 24th, Attorney General Barr put out a memo kind of highlighting the most important conclusions of the report. But clearly at 300 plus pages, there's a lot more there than a 4-page memo from Attorney General Barr would cover. I think it's important for us to understand that while we look at the Barr memo, it's very clear he was unabashed in saying that there was no collusion, that there was no evidence of Trump campaign officials conspiring or colluding with the Kremlin or any Russian government officials. I could have told you that. I think I did many times in the last 2 years. But that's the most important part. There was allegations of collusion from Hillary's campaign, supported by opposition research, paid for by Hillary Clinton and the Democratic National Committee, which became part of the FBI's investigation. All bogus, if you ask me, and I think if you're going to get to the bottom of it, I don't think Attorney General Barr can rely upon all that's been done so far to look into Spygate. But what's important, I think, is with collusion out of the way in this report, we're going to have more reliance by the Democrats on obstruction of justice. We see from A.G. Barr's memo that the prosecutors at the Office of Special Counsel could not come to a conclusion as to whether or not there were grounds for what? I guess, do you indict a sitting president? I don't think you can. Don't even know if you can subpoena one. But grounds for accusations of obstruction. They couldn't come to a decision on that. So if you look at that and the spin in the media in the past several days from the Democrats, it's pretty clear to me what is next is obstruction. Obstruction is going to be the new collusion. You understand that now. There's really no there on collusion. The American people have heard enough of it. I think the Democrats are going to understand that collusion is pretty much out of reach now. While they may have a little bit of a roadmap to impeachment on obstruction. Of course, if they couldn't get all the way to evidence of obstruction with the Mueller investigators, the Mueller prosecutors couldn't come to an agreement on it. The Democrats are going to have to take some leaps of faith that the Department of Justice was unwilling to take, but of course they'll do that. The Democrats are going to impeach the President of the United States. I think that's a metaphysical certitude. I'm absolutely, completely certain of it. I think obstruction is the way they're going to go. And I think that, while, they really want to take these obstruction charges out of the report, they'll have continuous hearings on it in the Judiciary Committee and probably others, and march toward impeachment as 2020 approaches. In my opinion, there are two reasons why the Democrats will try to follow this path to obstruction that may be in the Mueller report. The second reason is Spygate. While Attorney General Barr is digging up all the bones and evidence of Barack Obama's national security apparatus spying on the Republican candidate for the President of the United States and the President-elect of the United States and the President of the United States, while A.G. Barr is digging through all of that and we're trying to see what's happening with that in the news, the Democrats are going to want to have something they can scream about in the House so they can distract the media and distract the American people. And to me, that's obstruction. So look what we're going to see the report probably before my next video comes out, maybe even before my next podcast comes out. But when the report comes out, watch. They'll take a couple of days trying to complain that there was, evidence in plain sight of collusion, and we can keep going with this collusion delusion, but they'll lose steam quickly. Meanwhile, the charges of obstruction, the evidence of obstruction here and there in that report, the Democrats will stitch together in whole cloth and try and make an impeachment out of it. And the obstruction is the new collusion. It's the new watchword in Washington. That's my prediction from all the way out here in flyover country. I can smell it. If you're living in Washington, you can smell it. Obstruction is the new collusion. Get used to it, people. It's also bogus, just as bogus as collusion was. But when they lose the collusion narrative, they're gonna have to grab onto it. Something. They're going to grab onto obstruction because A, they want to impeach the president. They might find the path in the report. And B, they're going to need to distract everyone from Spygate, which is going to get more and more hot for the Democrats and never-Trumpers and Obamaites who actually spied and used the federal government to spy on the Republican candidate for president of the United States. Let that sink in. That's a huge scandal. We'll be talking about it a lot in the next several weeks as Attorney General Barr gets closer and closer to the person who planned this whole thing, President Barack Obama. We'll be right back next week, I guess, with my podcast, maybe a video as well. Remember, stillstandingpodcast.com. Thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate it. Michael Caputo, signing out.